Habari gani, Mainduga na Dada. My brothers and sisters, it's time now that we face reality. Because once we face reality, then we can either accept it or change it to the reality we desire. Now, let me very simply state that we are in the condition we are because we help create the condition we find ourselves in by acquiescing to those who want to degrade us and have degraded us. Now listen, my brothers and sisters, I want to break this down into a two-step program, a two-step program that illustrates very simply to you what our problem is as a people. First, my brothers and sisters, we allowed the so-called, quote unquote, white man to trick us, to cover our minds in darkness, and then fill it with a lot of junk, lies. Listen, my brothers and sisters, let me explain to you now what our problem is. Two steps, two parts, if you want to call it that. The first is we do not honor and worship our ancestors. In the Christian religion, the greatest ancestor, God, is a white man. In the Chinese religions, the God is a Chinese. As a matter of fact, the God of every people, when viewed as a human, is a representative of their people, one of their ancestors. However, since we accept Christianity, Judaism, Mohammedanism, or Islam, the God is a white man and not our image. Even Muhammad, the founder of the Islamic religion, owned a slave named Bilal. And he was blessed because he could sing good. Does this sound familiar? And they gave him the job of doing the call to worship to all the Muslims about. In the minaret, I think it's pronounced. Beautiful voice, beautiful singer. Then you see, my brothers and sisters, we do not worship a God that looks like us. God is the ancestors. But you see, the white man tricked us and made us believe our gods, our ancestors, were savages. When our ancestors built the first great civilization and shared civilization to the world from Africa, Kemet, the white man of the Greeks, which is the same, named them Egyptians and the place Egypt. So even though we have a lot to be proud of, we refuse to worship our ancestors, and consequently we hate them, we despise them because we have taught to do that. We hate ourselves. How do we hate ourselves, you ask? You see, our ancestors are still alive and being buried again through our women. We are the ancestors. I am the last generation of ancestors, the oldest generation, I should say. Because all of us are the ancestors reborn, and when we hate the ancestors, we hate ourselves. When we despise the ancestors, we despise ourselves. When we think the ancestors contributed nothing to civilization, we think we are non-contributors of civilization. So my brothers and sisters, the first step is to start worshiping our ancestors, honoring our ancestors, bowing to our ancestors, and realizing who our ancestors are today. That's the first step. The second step is we must take responsibility to teach the upcoming new ancestors, our descendants, because we've passed down the ancestors to our descendants. So listen, my brothers and sisters, our job is to teach our descendants who we really are. We are the gods of the world. We are the Alpha and the Omega. We were here when all other races and ethnic groups were created. We are their mothers and their fathers. We are their ancestors partially, at least in the realm of providing civilization to them. Even taught those rascals how to take a bath. Are you listening to me? So listen, my brothers and sisters, we must take the responsibility to teach our descendants the truth of who we are, who the ancestors are, and who our antagonists, white people, are. We must teach you their origin, their history, how they came into being, and what their demise shall be about if they do not elevate themselves to the civilizational level where they can realize good from bad. Because it appears right now that everything they do is tainted with either complete badness or evilness. They go all over the world conquering people, taking what God, the ancestors, the black man left on this earth, which is demonstrated by all the resources the rest of the world's peoples need or want, are located on the continent the Greeks named Africa. Listen, my brothers and sisters, you must teach your descendants who they are and demonstrate to them who you are. All of this must be demonstrated. We are the ancestors. Reborn in us, we are the ancestors. So however we feel about our ancestors, we feel about ourselves and our descendants. So listen, my brothers and sisters. We must worship, honor, lift up, and give praise to our God ancestors. And we must teach our descendants who they really are, and let them know that when everybody else came on the world, they were already here on the planet Earth. Some call it the world. And that they shall be here when everybody else has demised. For we are the Alpha and the Omega. We are everybody else's beginning, which is found in us. And we shall be here and observe and maintain their history. For then it shall be embedded and imprint, our mind shall have imprinted on it. And all of our descendants will receive this blessing through their reproductions and teaching the generation that follows them this truth. Once again, my beautiful gods, I break them down to my Induga Nadada. I say to at this particular point, victory is ours. All we have to do is survive by protecting and defending ourselves. Masagaya, peace and Hotep to you, my Induga Nadada.